We'd like to point out UCA SID Steve East is here, so if you have any questions or need some help, please see him. At this time, Coach Campbell, if you'd like to provide us with an opening statement on the upcoming season.
Thank you. It's great to see all of you here this morning. We're very excited about this upcoming season. The guys have worked really hard in preparation for the upcoming season. Starting back in January, you could see a hunger and a desire in this group, and that's very encouraging. These guys have worked tremendously hard through the off season. I thought they had our best spring training in my 3 years there, and then after spring training was over, these guys really attacked the summer program. So the guys have really worked hard and give a lot of reasons to be excited about this upcoming season. And two of the reasons that we're very excited, the guys sitting on my right and left. I'm an O-line guy by trade, and we like to be physical and run the football. But whenever you've got two outstanding skill guys, two outstanding receivers, like we're fortunate enough to have coming back this year, these guys have a chance to be, great weapons for us. So they really give us a lot of reasons to be excited coming into this year.
Desmond, if you'd like to give us some thoughts on the upcoming season.
Just like Coach is saying, we've had a long summer grind with old players teaching new players the ropes and everything. So we're really excited about starting this season off, and we believe that it's going to be a good one.
Jatavious, your thoughts?
We're excited about this upcoming season. During the off season, we encourage each other to work harder. So we're just ready to get everything going.
We do have microphones on the floor. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone, and just identify yourself and your news agency.
Coach Campbell, Alex Hickey, Lake Charles American Press. I find your schedule interesting compared to last year, where you had to pretty much do everything on the road in that first month. Now you don't have to.
Yeah. That's one of the other things that makes us very excited about this upcoming year is the way that the schedule sets up. Last year, we didn't play a home game until like a week or two before Halloween. So, I mean, the leaves had already turned and the weather had already turned and all that before we had an opportunity to come home. And this year schedule sets up very favorably as far as jumping out the gates fast, and we really do need to start fast. We open up with Houston Baptist at home, which it's always good to get a home opener. And your conference opener to be at home. Then the following week, Samford travels, makes that 7-hour trip from Birmingham over to Conway, and then we get our second conference game at home against Northwestern State. So, and then really, our first non-conference game, our BCS game, is week 4, and that's an hour and a half down the road in Jonesboro. So the first 4 weeks of the season, we don't leave the state of Arkansas. So, compare that to going to Montana State and some different places over the last couple of years. We're very excited about the way that the schedule sets up. First 4 weeks, we don't leave the state, and so we're very excited about that, and we need to use that and let's get off to a tremendous start. We've got two big mottos, two big mantras that we're talking about this year. Number one is finish. Make sure that we finish everything that for 2 years in a row we've gone into the last game of the year against Sam Houston with the chance. You win that football game, you finish, you go to the NCAA playoffs, and we weren't able to finish. So this year our big deal is finish. Make sure that that we finish. We're 7-2 in the league last year. Fourth quarter, we're leading McNeese, who's undefeated. Finish. We finish the fourth quarter. We have at least a share of the conference championship. So finish is a big deal for us. But also this year, the way that the schedule sets up, start fast. We need to start fast, get out the gates, and then finish strong. We have done well through those middle stretches, but the key for us is going to be to start fast and finish strong. The schedule sets up well for us to be able to do that.
IC Morrell, Port Arthur News. How do you replace a guy like Blake Beasley in the backfield?
You know, Blake brought so many more things than what you see out there on the field. I mean, you watch him. I think he rushed for, I think it was 290 something in one game this past year, which, I mean, that's tremendous. And then he had, a couple of 150, 170 yard games. So, his talent's going to be very hard to replace. But the thing Blake brought every day was a tremendous work ethic, just a consistency. I mean, he worked, and he was a leader, and he was a guy that you could hang your hat on. As soon as you walked in the door, you knew he was going to be there. And that's what Blake brought to the table. Now, this year, I'm excited about our backfield. We're going to be, these two guys have caught a lot of passes, scored a lot of touchdowns. They're a proven commodity. In the backfield, I'm very excited about what we've got in the backfield now. We've got some unproven commodities back there, but there's some guys that potential's unlimited. Darian Daniels has gained 15 pounds of muscle in a year. That kid has worked tremendously hard. Antoine Wells is a guy that is tremendously hard worker. I'm talking about the other day in the weight room, he power cleaned 340, which that's good coming off of an ACL a year and a half ago. He, I think, is set for a breakout year. Kelton Warren has shown the ability at times to hit home runs. He's a home run hitter. He's got to stay healthy. We picked up a transfer, Jarvis Cooper, who was University of Memphis's leading rusher this past year. He's a 245-pound back, so he will add to that. Very excited about two freshmen that we signed, Carlos Blackman and Kier Crossley. Both have. So, to replace a Blake Beasley, Blake is you don't get them very often. Those guys come around few and far between. But I love the guys we got coming back. So, we're excited about. I'm excited about the what we could have in that backfield. I think this, there's a lot of unlimited potential there.
One last question. You mentioned the transfer from Memphis. University of Memphis now has a head coach who's a graduate of UCA, Mike Norvell. Do you know Mike pretty well?
Yeah, I have gotten to know Mike. Mike went into our UCA Hall of Fame, or actually goes in this year. We had a special induction ceremony earlier because, of course, they're going to be playing football during the regular Hall of Fame induction. But I met Mike a couple of years ago, and great, outstanding football coach, outstanding man, and we're very proud for his success.
This is for the players. The Nicholls State guys, kind of different angle, I guess, they were talked about how big it was to end their season with a win after the struggles the program has had in recent years. For you guys, the way you ended last season, how does that shape heading into this year as far as motivation, being one win away from the playoffs and not getting that goal achieved?
Well, from my perspective, my first year here was the last year we went to the playoffs. So for me, that's a drive to push forward and push through. And then for the rest of these guys, they haven't been to an FCS playoff. So everybody's got that real hungry feeling to them. So you see the upperclassmen pushing the younger-classmen to say, hey, you may only have one shot, so we have a great team this year, and we really want to drive and make our way to the playoffs this year. And it all begins with finishing and starting fast with the season we have ahead.
Yeah, we've got, you got a first-team all-conference wide receiver right here, a guy who led the league in receptions, and a guy who led the league in yards, and then you've got a guy, right here that's an all-conference player at three positions: all-purpose guy, receiver, and returner. So to start with, I like our skill guys. Offensively, we've got some guys that can catch the football and then do something with it after they catch it. And then, we've got some guys that, Jatavious McMillan played a lot. Brady Moore is a guy that redshirted this past year. Roman Gordon, I think, is ready to have a breakout year. So I like our skill guys. I talked about our running backs earlier. Hayden Hildebrand played a lot of football last year. You can say, I think now we've got our starting quarterback back. Hayden wasn't the starter at the beginning of the year, but came in and I guess probably started 8 games, when Taylor Reed went down. So, Hayden has played a lot of football and played at a high level. So we got our quarterback back. I love the defensive line. We lost some good players in Jonathan Woodard and Derek Floyd, outstanding football players. But I tell you what, I like Terrence Partee, Jordan Tolliver, Dawson Hadnot. That's three kind of old heads up front that have played a lot of football at a high level. I like the way that they're working. Cardell Best has a chance to step out and be an all-conference guy. Chris Chambers, I love the way that he's been working, and he's got a ton of ability. There's some I like the possibilities of our defensive line. Secondary-wise, Trey Smith, first-team all-conference guy. Devin Spurlock was our leading tackler this past year. Has a chance to be an outstanding football player. Tyler Williams is a heck of a corner. And then I ain't even talked about George Odom. George is as athletic and as driven. So I like the overall athleticism of this football team. This football team, I think we've got a chance to have a little more speed, a little more quickness, a little more whatever from top to bottom, which should help off in kickoff coverage, punt coverage. There's more guys that can run and cover kicks and scoop and score and catch a bubble, and I like the way that they've been working, and their overall their attitude has been one of work, one of let's get and competing. I like the way that this group competes. Now you got to go out and you got to do it, but I like the hunger and the desire and of the competition. This group likes to. It's a competitive group, so that's very encouraging going into this upcoming year.
This is for Jatavious. There's been some talk nationally now about perhaps eliminating the kickoff in the future. As a returner, I guess I'd like you to imagine maybe you're a lawyer right now. Just what would you say to defend that play and its importance and the excitement that you can bring in the kick return game?
When I first got to UCA, that's what I came in to do, is kickoff returner. So when they kick the ball off, only thing that's going through my head is I want to put my team in the best situation I can for us to score the ball so we can move up and down the field, put points on the board, and finish. So when it comes to kickoff return, it's just, I love to have fun with it. When I got my brothers out there on the field blocking for me, lead me to the end zone, it just feels good to be on the field, to be able to put your team in the best situation as possible as you can.
Coach Campbell, what do you make of that conversation that has begun, I guess, to trickle down?
Yeah, I'm an old school guy, so I think all of the, you want to be progressive and you want to do things that help the game and all that, but before long, you're not going to be playing what I grew up with as football. You take the kickoff out of there, where you don't even kick the ball off anymore. This year they're adding new chop block rules to the, and I'm all for player safety, but you want player safety, but you don't want them to change it is football. Kickoff return. I mean, Jatavious he's a great football player because a big part of that is because of that play. You take that play out of the game, you're taking one of the most exciting plays and exciting players. You take Devin Hester off of the teams that he's been on, it's not the same. You take Jatavious, it's not the same. They're changing a little chop block rule right now, and I grew up running the wishbone, and that was a big part of it. And you take certain body types out of the game. And so I'm not a fan of increased rule changes because of the opportunities that it takes away from certain body types.
And I guess going on that, as Jatavious said, he was recruited to do this. Do you feel like that hurts kids with that skill set if you were to get rid of such a, getting rid of the kickoff as far as guys with that skill set? Would that hurt recruitment?
That would hurt guys that are kick returners. Yeah, if they change that rule. Don't you think, Jatavious? I mean, if they
Yes,
took
sir.
that out of the game, it would be, those guys are great football players. And what we have grown up watching, that is what a football player looks like. Well, then you take that out, I think you're hurting the game.
Yeah, my favorite is kickoff return. That's my favorite. I love it because it's like to start the game off. I can help my team get closer to the end zone just by kicking me the ball, and so I'd rather you put that on my back so I can do that for my brothers.
Any other questions for Coach Campbell or the student athletes?